is PsychOpinion. Now your hosts, Jake, Rob, Steve, Jen, and sometimes Liza.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to PsychOpinion. Tonight we are going to be discussing the movie Longlegs. We finally all got on the same page, and most of us went to the movies together, with the exception of Steve, because he went the night before. But
the week before.
The week before, sorry.
Okay.
It was a very interesting movie, and I feel like we're going to talk about that tonight. What I'd like to do first, though, is go ahead and start us off with the trailer. For those of you that are tuning in that haven't seen the movie, we can discuss the trailer for like 2 seconds here, and then I'll go ahead and let you know when or if you want to head out so you don't get any spoilers. But I figured we'd go ahead and check out this trailer here first. So.
Is it scary being a lady FBI agent?
Yeah.
Take a nice long look. A letter was left with the bodies. Signed with one word.
I saw a beast rise up out of the sea with 7 heads and 10 horns. And on his horns he wore 10 crowns. And on each head was written a blasphemous name.
What aren't you telling me?
He'll kill and kill again.
I know you're not afraid of a little bit of dark. Because you are the dark.
Do you still say your prayers? Number ones? They scared me. Hello?
You could have made nice with me. But you didn't. And that has led to all of this. I'll be waiting.
All right, so there it was. That's good. It kind of reminded me about everything and put me back in the zone.
Yeah. It reminded me of how much she heavily breathed. There was a lot of heavy breathing in that movie.
Or just how well she acted. She was best part,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
It
Well, I'm gonna
reminded
go
me
ahead.
of like anxiety.
I'm going to go ahead and say that the trailer was good. So that was the trailer, guys. We went ahead and watched that for you first. It's hard to react to the trailer because we've seen the movie, and I don't want you to have any spoilers if you're looking forward to watching the movie. So go ahead and take off now. Now we're actually going to discuss the movie. So spoiler alerts. Spoiler alerts. Spoiler alert. There's going to be spoilers. I don't know how to say that properly. I got to edit that out.
You're about to be spoiled.
Man, I was hoping I could at least go 5 minutes without the first swear I need to edit out. This is a clean show now, guys. I'm gonna go ahead and say right now, I know that we have varying degrees on this movie, varying opinions, degrees of opinions on this movie, if you will. I'm gonna go ahead and start off and say that trailer is so much better than the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Nope. Movie's the best. It's fantastic.
So a good trailer is something that does not give everything away, because so often you see trailers that have like 10 scenes in it, and that's all of the movie. That's like the 10 good scenes. And so, and they divulge way too much.
Or like they show the big twist of the movie. In the trailer.
They do. The cool thing about the Longlegs trailer, and I think why it got so much traction and people were so excited about it, was that it was very vague and very ambiguous. You didn't know really what was happening. You didn't know what role Nicolas Cage had, even though you knew he was in there. It was cool to leave him out of it. Obviously, once you see his face for the first time, you're like, that guy's a little messed up. But I don't know what they were trying to pull there. Was he like albino maybe or something? Was that it? Because he was awfully pale.
It was explained to me that it was because of the powder he was using and putting on himself the whole time from the doll making or whatever.
Yeah, because he was a doll maker, he wanted to make himself more doll-like and porcelain. So I don't think he was albino, but he had taken steps, maybe like with some type of skin bleaching process or something, to make himself more doll-like and perfect in his eyes.
Gotcha.
I also read somewhere that he might have gotten some plastic surgery done, or maybe attempted to do plastic surgery on himself.
Yeah, he had that whole Michael Jackson look.
Well, nobody naturally looks the way that guy looked. I mean, that guy was. Yeah. I really thought, like, I guess you're supposed to look that way. When they actually had the reveal, I was like, man, they must have found like the lowest makeup artist they could find. Like that's where they blew the budget and they couldn't afford a good makeup artist. That's what I was thinking, because I just thought the makeup was terrible. I thought Nicolas Cage, I thought his character looked ridiculous.
Well, honestly. Because I said he was the doll maker, and it wasn't a perfect job. Hence, what Jen said with it being kind of like a self-induced surgery. I feel like it was. I thought they pulled it off pretty well. Like, it wasn't anything like the dude from Hatchet or just someone that's totally disgusting and messed up. It felt right for the character. I don't know. I actually liked it.
I thought it was awful.
Yeah,
it fit with the idea.
Yeah, I think it fit with the character. I don't have a beef with his makeup job.
Yeah, I think it actually helped his, like Jen said, his character. I mean, to look that way, to look disheveled, to look kind of not quite right, just a little bit of something, whether it had been the makeup on him, the facial structure or features. It just kind of was meant to give you that uneasy feeling, and I thought they hit it on the head pretty good there. He looked goofy as shit, but I think that was kind of the idea.
Well, I mean, if you're saying that by making him hard to look at, then yeah, they absolutely accomplished that, because he was definitely weird looking and awkward and hard to look at. But
that was part of it.
I'm going to be honest. I'm going to let you guys kind of go a little bit here before I really jump in, because I think I have the most negative opinion of this movie. So I want to, let's go ahead and let the viewers or the listeners have a little bit of the positivity and the good things about it before I get in here. I know Rob's got a lot to say.
Yeah, we can do that if you want. I don't know. The main thing I really enjoyed about the movie was how they pulled off the vibe, the ambiance, the feel. The entire movie was just like a creeping, just feel of hopeless, or maybe not hopelessness, but it was just, you always had something in the back of your mind that was uneasy watching this. At least I did. The way they set the ambiance was great.
I'm going to throw a word out there, and then I'm going to back up again. But eerie, I would say, is eerie is probably a good feeling for that movie.
Eerie works. I think that the kind of the opening scene. Well, first and foremost, we can probably all agree on that the cinematography of it, the widescreen lens, the individual front and center with so much going on around them, especially in dark screens and things like that. You're kind of looking for stuff, and it helps to add to. And a lot of movies do stuff like that to give you a feeling of dread when there's none there. It's just a little extra trick that they can throw into there without having to actually give you anything scary. But I thought that with them opening right up with that guy getting shot immediately was kind of like that big wow factor right out of the gate that's gets you off your off balance right out of the gate. So.
Oh yeah, gets you interested, keeps you enthralled in the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I thought that was going to be Nick Cage that was the one that shot him too. Like I was like, they've got him already in scene one, and it ended up being just some rando that had no relevance other than just the opening act. But
well, I mean, yeah, it's how she got to where she was. I don't know. I liked what they did. Also, I want to talk about the main actress, Maika Monroe. I haven't seen her in anything else, I don't think, but she really did a bang up job. I haven't seen her in anything.
Oh, you haven't seen It Follows?
I have not seen It Follows.
Oh,
you haven't seen It Follows?
Nope.
Dude, It Follows is awesome. That was like one of the best recent horror movies, in my opinion. We talked about that during the STD
episode. Yep. Yeah.
If you like this movie, you might want to check out It Follows. I mean, because it has her in it, has a definite feel of unease, creepy eeriness to it for sure.
After seeing her performance in this movie, I'm pretty much hooked. I want to see what else she has to bring. She added to, as I said, the big thing for me was the vibe of the movie and her having social, like some heavy anxiety issues, which I also do as well. I could really feel, and she knew what she was doing. It was just a fantastic portrayal on her part.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's that part. There's that part where she was sitting on the bed with the detective's daughter, and it just reminded me of like if Sling Blade and like Sheldon from Big Bang Theory, like if they had a love child, it would have been her. She was just awkward as crap. You'll see. Yeah.
Hate, man, the hate. Me and realism, Jake. The scene, and we'll probably bounce around on a timeline standpoint throughout the show, of course. But
well, if they've seen it, they know what they're talking about. So if they haven't seen it, then it might be hard to follow.
So with her sitting at home in the dark at her desk, and then thinking she sees something outside, goes outside, leaves her gun indoors, leaves the door open, walks. I mean, I can never get over that sort of stuff. And she's law enforcement, so you got to know better than that. And then to turn around and so, I mean, those sorts of things are tough for me. Like I get the whole idea that you got to get him into the house somehow, and he's got to be able to put the letter down and everything. But that was dumb as far as I was concerned. I thought that was kind of stupid.
I actually thought that they did that. So my impression of her is that she made it where she made it in the FBI because of her ability to be able to kind of foretell the future, or she was kind of a what's the word I'm looking for here? Psychic, yeah, her psychic abilities. She was not a good officer, and that's definitely in the scene that you just mentioned, as well as one thing that we discussed right after the movie was nobody in law enforcement ever would be in that scene that she was in where the guy got shot and she backed up against the window the way she did, because you have absolutely zero knowledge or view of what's going on behind you. You never want to be put up against a window like that. And I think that and the scene you just discussed, I mean, we know she's not an all-star officer. We know that she's not maybe even a well-trained officer, quite frankly, but she was mostly there, I think, because of her abilities. That's kind of what they were using her for at that point.
And I think that's why they showed those two scenes in that specific way.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, I
show how novice she actually is in that regard. Yeah. No, I agree. The quirky facial features and kind of the bashfulness, and I don't know what that was all about, but it was pretty cool. It like when she went over to the kid's birthday party she was invited to, just sitting there kind of
Yeah.
Looking around like, when is this going to be done type of thing. But yeah, she definitely looked like she was invested 100% in her work life and didn't have much of a life outside of it. So.
Another thing I really enjoyed about her character was, like, you saw her house, you saw that there was like nothing in there. It was clean, crisp. There was no clutter at all. And then you see like how she was raised, where she was brought up, like the mental issues with her mother. And you see why she was that way. So I think they really did a good job to create her as a pretty defined character. I really liked what they did.
Yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong. While I don't care much for this movie, and I'll get into more of that as we go, I will say, and I want to say this kind of here in the beginning, is that I did enjoy the cinematography. I did think that the beginning, actually, the introduction reminded me of young Tarantino. Like, I thought it was really good. The way that they used colors and the way that they used the music, it really reminded me of something Tarantino would have done maybe earlier in his career. And I did love the widescreen, the way it kept you looking in the background to try to see if there's something going on. Like Steve was saying with that unease, is there something going on in the background? I mean, I do think I have a lot to compliment on kind of the way the movie was done. I don't think the acting was terrible. The acting was pretty good. I think that the cinematography was pretty good. I think that the opening was good. I don't have any gripes with how the movie was shot or kind of how they went about directing those things or editing those things. That's not where my issue lies, and I just want to make that clear, because I mean, I do agree with a lot of what you guys are saying as far as those things were phenomenal, and even the details, her mother being a hoarder, her living in a very sparse lifestyle. My gripes are beyond that, which I'm sure you guys will get to here in a minute, but I just wanted to clarify that I don't think the movie was terrible in those ways.
Oh, where to go from there?
Yeah.
I would say. Go ahead, Jen.
I was just gonna say that I was a little bit disappointed in the fact that it's called Longlegs and it's just Nicolas Cage's character's name.
Mm-hmm.
I was expecting a little bit more from that. I was a little bit disappointed. Yeah.
Well, sorry.
I did. I read something about it because I was just so curious, like why did they name him Longlegs?
Yeah.
So I did hear like an interview with Oz Perkins, the director. And he just said that he really liked the name and that he just thought it was a creepy name and it evoked a certain feeling that he liked, and that was it. I mean, it is a good name, but I was just hoping for like something, I don't know, to like tie it in to like the story or something.
Well, wasn't it tied in this? That's what I was gonna say. Wasn't it tied in the story a little bit in the fact that there was like the whole like, let me get on my short legs to get down to like the child's level, because he was basically a child predator. I mean, let's be honest. It's pretty much what was going on there. Damn.
So it's because he's an adult, and that's why he's called Longlegs. Is that what it is? He's just tall and adult.
Yeah, because he's got to get on his short legs for the kids. Let me put on the short legs.
Well, that first scene when he does meet her as a young child, it took me about 15, 20 minutes into the movie before I realized that that was actually her. Like I didn't make the correlation right out of the gate, but to my defense, I also had my whole family passing popcorn and nachos and everything else back and forth. So there were opportunities to miss things, and I think I did. So I've talked to Jake and Jen about this, and I feel as though it's the type of movie that you could probably watch a second time and gain a lot out of it. And I think I'm going to have to. I'm sure it'll be streaming here within a month or so, but definitely want to go back to it again and watch it again to see what I missed potentially and how certain things undoubtedly tied in. Yeah, there felt like some broken times there, or scenes that were a little bit broken and felt like it was just placed awkwardly within the movie. And maybe that's the case, or maybe there is some stuff that I missed and it was a little bit more streamlined than I thought. but it did feel dismembered at times.
Yeah,
I will.
disjointed.
I feel very strongly. I very strongly agree with Steve, and that's actually Rob and I got into that a little bit in the fact that I didn't really feel like the story explained as much as it could have. To me, I feel like there is a, and I feel like maybe that's a trend going on in movies right now. Where they kind of want you to make your own kind of storyline, or it's almost like a lot of the writers these days are having the viewers do the work. Rob felt like it was very obvious, and I'll let him speak on that in just a second here. But I really felt like there was some disconnections. I didn't really have the answers to pretty much all of my questions during that movie. A lot of those being, like, how is this happening? What's going on? Like, he creates these dolls, and these, things happen, and what's, what I didn't understand really what was going on throughout the whole thing. And I'll let Rob explain that now, because that's kind of what we were discussing the other night.
Oh, it's I felt like with the orbs, with the power of Satan, that that was the supernatural aspect that let whatever happen. And I don't feel this is where I feel separate from you, Jake, is they didn't have to explain that any more than they did. With when they found the main character's doll and she shot it in the head, you saw like the black smoke rise up. You knew at that point that it was something supernatural. You saw the effect it had on the main character. I thought that was enough of an explanation to me to understand what they were for. So I didn't need like some demonologist to come in and explain based off of his studies of this and that. Like I felt like that would have been too much to take away from how the movie felt. Would have changed, I don't know, the vibe. I think that, in my opinion, they did a decent job of explaining the supernatural aspect.
I mean, I get your point that they would have had to really go down into the weeds to give you a proper explanation of everything. So if you're looking for that, then you're not going to get it in essence. And so the easier way out was to virtually not give you hardly anything, because I felt like they didn't give you much of anything. But I also was not too put off by that, because with a lot of movies like that, there are certain things that you want to be left with, questions that you want to be left with, things that you want to be thinking about on the ride home. Why'd they do that? What about this? Yeah, and so you can't give all the answers and lay everything down A to Z. So I understood that, but there were moments that I was watching and I'm like, did I just like miss a lot of something? Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
And it's hard for me to even pinpoint an actual moment when that occurred. But there were several moments where I'm watching and I felt like I missed a scene or two. Like I got up to go to the bathroom or something and came back. But overall, I liked it. It's, the same way that they went heavy in the paint on that movie from a nostalgic standpoint, that Late Night with the Devil, same type of setup where there was just so much hype for a handful of different reasons. Didn't quite live up to what I had hoped for, but I don't think anything ever can when you get your mind or your thoughts of a certain thing and what you might picture as perfection. It's never going to be that way. So I think they did a well enough job.
It's like the expectation of it, it kind of like lets you down a little bit. And from my perspective, it's just like I felt like something was missing with the movie. Like I feel like I didn't want it spoon-fed to me. It wasn't like that, because I've had plenty of films that I've watched where it wasn't spoon-fed, and I still really, really enjoyed it. This one, I just felt like I kind of wanted a little bit more with Nicolas Cage. I wanted to see more of him, like, and understand his story a little bit more. I feel like we were missing a little bit more of his story. And the making of the dolls, like, I think I would have liked to have seen that a little bit more.
I'll agree with that. Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, like I did really enjoy this movie. I did like the cinematography, of course. I liked the music a lot as well. Surprised we haven't mentioned that yet.
And that's also
Yeah.
I went after the movie and hung out with Jake, and I did mention the music. Like you don't,
Yeah.
there's not a lot of music in it. It's usually like they're driving in a car to go from point A to point B. You hear like it's less than a minute of a song, but
Yeah.
every
They're
single
kind of forgettable
song
songs,
in that
most of
movie
them.
was the like straight up fire banger.
Yeah,
So
like
I,
the
I love
T-Rex.
T-Rex.
The T-Rex
Oh,
stuff
yeah.
was great.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't really get that much play, you know? Like
Yeah.
you don't really hear him that often.
I've always
So
been
I
a
was,
big fan.
yeah,
I was
yeah,
playing
and
some of
I
my
was like
favorites for
really
Rob
happy to hear
afterwards.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. It was yeah, the music was good. T-Rex is awesome, and they actually quoted him in the beginning of the movie.
Mhm.
Quoted one of his songs, and I knew right from that point. Honestly, I was like, okay, this is headed in a good direction because if the director's in a T-Rex, I feel like that's going to go in a good direction. Unfortunately for me, it didn't go in that direction. I'm not going to lie, I would have liked some of the things spoon-fed to me because I would love to know more about his character. I agree with Jen on that. I want to know more about this guy, where the hell he came from, what's going on with that. I want to know more about his abilities or his connection with Satan. I want to know what's
Yeah.
going on with these dolls.
Okay.
Like what gives him that ability to make these dolls? What is there? Is there some kind of I don't know, he sell his soul? Like what's going on there? What makes him so special, I guess, realistically? Because he just kind of
Yeah.
seems like a weird. I think the only, difference between him and a creepy SNL character is the ambiance. I mean, hey guys, like running around all Michael Jackson-y and stuff with the bad makeup. But that's neither here nor there. I mean, why is he targeting these certain people? I know there's a thing with the birthdays and all of that, but and then why did these things have the effect that they have, where the daughter is infatuated, the father kills his family? I just didn't really understand how all of that connected or came along. There was like zero storyline to me on that. I heard from somebody. I was looking on Facebook, I think, and somebody was like, they need to make a prequel for this movie right now. And I was like, yeah.
It might.
Honestly, a prequel would make me probably like the original movie better, because once I had some of these answers, I feel like I could really vibe with the movie more. And yeah, I mean, I hate to say it, and if that's the way I have to say it, I wish I was spoon-fed, because I really think it wasn't a bad movie, and I think I really would have enjoyed it more had I had some of those answers that I was seeking. I didn't really want to leave the theater not knowing anything and making up my whole, history and, writing half of the movie for them in my head. I mean, obviously some things were hinted at, and Rob really picked up on those and felt like they all connected better for him than they did for me. But I mean, I have a lot on my mind in my life, and I mean, honestly, I really didn't need more questions. I wanted to be entertained. And maybe that's where I fell short with this movie. I mean, like I said, I just listed off 5-10 questions that I'd love the answers to. If they could do that in a prequel, they'd probably fall in love with that one.
Well, I will give you a counterpoint. Once again, it always goes back to the main character, what she was dealing with, how she was doing her thing, and not explaining it in this specific movie is really, I don't know. I enjoyed it because it's basically you see her perspective, what she understands, what she's going through, what she can learn. And then with him dying, Longlegs, just killing himself, it doesn't explain it to her, so we don't find out as well because she's not going to find out. And that's just, I don't know, that's just a counterpoint. It's not saying I preferred that, but just it's a little bit more of, I guess, my perspective.
I will say his was one of the most epic I've ever seen. That was wild. That was really that was shockingly shocking and good in my opinion. And I was kind of glad to see him do it because the character kind of annoyed me. I mean, when I watch horror movies, I'm all about the guy. I'm all about the killer. I'm all about, like, that's what I base a horror movie on a lot of the times is the antagonist, if you will. I thought he was a little bit of a weak antagonist. I mean, like I said, he almost reminded me of something SNL would have came up with, as like a funny sketch of this guy being a creep.
Yeah, he definitely came across as a parody of himself. And I think that was obvious to again highlight the uneasiness of his actions and the way he talks and his mannerisms and gesticulation and all the other stuff. But When it comes to, I'll touch on this again with the dates that Jake just brought up in accompaniment with some other things. What was the tether or the correlation between the dates that each family murder happened and everything? Was there any backstory behind that, or any reason why they picked a specific time every month, or what was that all about?
Yeah, Rob, what was that all about?
They didn't
I'm looking
say
right
what
at
it
Rob because I figured he's got the answer.
They didn't say where it started, but the fact that it did flow into his demonic or satanistic ritual, basically. It's he, like how she was looking through the book, the 9 gates of hell, found the sigil, it matched up with the dates. Maybe that's not the exact thing that he was going for, but it was damn close. And it's just, there's no way to know why it was the 13th or whichever date, and it was, that's the median, and however many days apart it could be, like 6 days, I think they said, from that, or within a spread of 6. But whatever the initial choice was, that's another thing we don't know, but it did flow with how his connection to his demonic inspiration, his demonic powers, and all that, they stemmed from that specific time, or allowed him to maybe do that. It's nothing that's specifically said, so just another thing for Jake to be upset with. But no, it shows it. I don't know. I think it shows it pretty well for me, at least.
You're right.
That's the first thing she figured out, which, I don't know, expedited the whole investigation. So.
Yeah. I have a question. It's a little bit off topic because we were, I don't want to jump topics again, but we were talking about, like, possibility of a prequel. I was just thinking, what would the name of the prequel be? Doll legs?
Short legs.
Leg? Or doll
I
legs?
got my short legs on to talk to you. Woo!
Frog legs.
What I want to know, though, is her mother. So her mother was housing this guy the whole time, right? So, like, her mother knew that this guy was causing her daughter harm, possibly when she was a child, and then on to her becoming an adult. Obviously, the mother was absolutely crazy.
Trying to protect her.
She was out of her mind.
Kind of way. Or, I'm sorry, I messed up kind of way.
That's all good. Say what you guess. But yeah. But I mean, like, I don't know. Yeah, the mother must have been crazy, but it just seems to me like that was a little weird for me. The whole correlation between her having the daughter and housing this guy and him being a creep, first of all, and second of all, like, I mean, as she became in the FBI and all of that, and that whole thing was kind of weird to me. I didn't really understand what the mother's part in this whole thing was, honestly. That was why she was doing what she was doing.
Trying to protect her.
She was pretty cuckoo.
Yeah.
How was protecting her would have been.
I love the sound effects. Sorry, I just remembered in the movie I really liked all the, like, sound effects that they did. That whole, like, cuckoo part was awesome. There's, like, a lot of little, like, noises that they do that are really, really good. Well done.
Yeah, I feel like the mother could have done more to protect her if she wanted to. I don't know. Did it seem were both characters equally as important to the mother? Is that the vibe? Because I mean, I feel like
maybe eventually. Now we saw what his power with putting the demonic essence in the orbs does to the different families. Allegedly. And he had this doll made for the main character. So because of the deal the mother made, that changed how the orb affected her. I mean, maybe that's why she's absolutely, bat bonkers crazy, is because of the fact that that doll was there all along.
Yeah,
And we
living in the
didn't
same
know
house
until like the end of the movie, or well, like 2/3 of the way through the movie or so.
Yeah.
So yeah, like we don't know how stable she was before, but I mean, there's definitely the possibility that the reason that she was crazy is because she's like, "Hey, don't hurt my daughter. I'll do anything," and then
Yeah.
that demonic power of the orb got her, or however, whatever Longlegs was doing.
Well, the doll to me was also weird because the doll was for the daughter, but it essentially was actually a catalyst for the father to do what he did.
Mm-hmm.
That was the other part. Like, it was weird because it's like he brought the doll for the daughter to get infatuated, and somehow the father would lose his mind.
It's the whole family. It affects everyone in near proximity, and the only thing is that the mother had to stay to make sure everything was carried out. That the doll's purpose hit fruition.
They showed a couple of times with like the black veil and almost like the nun looking type of demonic creature behind the veil. Was that a proxy for the doll? Like, because it seemed like that was kind of awkward timing when that would come up. There was two instances when I remember seeing that. One was the end scene as well, where you got like that black, cloak.
That's another ambiguous thing, because it was the daughter being covered with the veils, but was that like the avatar of demons or whatever that was giving him power, or maybe like some type of like funnel point to hit that demonic power, and that was it coming through. Like you saw the eyes. It wasn't the girl, but we saw the girl lift the veil or having the veil put on, and it was the girl, but it wasn't. So it doesn't really explain that. But the way I view that is that was the connection to the demon, basically, through the orb. The orb allowed the connection to happen. It was part of the ritual. Once the ritual was complete, or reaching its completion, that's when the demon would show itself.
I don't know. I got to see more about this ritual because it didn't give me enough of that. I don't know what kind of. I mean, I know you've been saying it. I just keep going back to it. I just don't understand what this guy had to do with.
It's also what Steve said. Like, I want to go back and rewatch it now that I know the full story. And
do you know the full story?
Well, as much.
Sometimes guys. Sometimes you watch a movie like this too, and you're so hyper focused that you miss a ton of.
Yeah.
Because you're too focused, and I think that's kind of how I was in the theater watching it. As I was waiting and trying to extrapolate everything that I was seeing in the moment, and even stuff that had no relevance. I was trying to make like sense of it all, and not knowing until after the fact that, okay, that whole 30-second scene was virtually useless. It was just walking from the car to the building or whatever. But in the moment, you're so hyper focused on things that I think it's very easy to end up missing other things that are laid out relatively easy for you to see, and gloss right over it because of that. So I think watching it a second time with unencumbered and just like, with no predisposition on feelings towards it or hype for the trailer or anything like that, just go in, watch it again, preferably by myself and without any other company, and and see what I think, because I feel as though there's more there than what I saw. Like I've stated a bunch of times, I know the Rotten Tomatoes number continues to dip a little bit more here and there as more people view it. I mean, originally it was at 100, and it was 96, and it was 92 now, and it was 86. I think it's in the mid to low 80s right now. And I mean, yet again, a horror movie in the 80s is pardon my French, a clear banger. Typically, it's those like 4s and 6s that you got to worry about. The single digit Rotten Tomato movies. But
I did pull up Rotten Tomatoes. The tomato meter is an 86. The audience score is only at 62%. So
really,
apparently there's a lot more Jakes out there.
Jake, how many times did you post on Rotten Tomatoes?
About 370,000.
He was up all night.
Yeah, just for the show. I just wanted to bring it down a notch because honestly, it was up too high, so I had to bring it down a peg.
Take that, Rob.
56,000 reviews.
You like this movie too much.
Yeah, I don't like you liking a movie that much, Rob.
Well, let's do this. I mean, can we talk about what we did like? What was like our favorite scene or our favorite thing within it to kind of?
I thought we were talking about what we liked about it this whole time.
Favorite scene. I like that. Steve, go ahead. What was your favorite scene?
Yes,
we have been busting the balls of long legs for a minute here. So, like Jake said,
you're about to give him the sympathy vote, aren't you?
I'm trying.
You suck.
So. I was taken back by the suicide scene at the precinct, smashing his face up against the table, which is second only to when that kid smashes his face off the fireplace mantle and talked to me. That was even more difficult to watch when his face became ground beef.
That was rough.
That scene was hard to watch, but it was great.
It was tough, but they did enough on this one too to kind of be like, damn, that's a lot, but it wasn't as grotesque as that other scene was. But I didn't see that coming. I did not see him exiting stage left that early on in the movie.
Yep.
It felt to me like there still was a lot of meat left on the bone there, and they killed him off pretty quickly. But I guess it was maybe close to 3/4 of the way through when that happened. So,
or maybe closer to half. I don't know. It felt early.
I don't know. It felt early, but
I mean, they implied that he's been doing this for years, though. So I mean, when he got caught, he probably figured it was the end. I mean, the implication is that he was doing this for decades.
But he didn't get caught. He kind of just gave up. Like I felt that he gave in more than he did get caught. Like I thought that was intentional.
He probably didn't have the mental stability.
Well, and then whatever he wanted to happen still happened. So,
like it was part of his plan. That even in death, that was like what his intentions were.
I don't know. See, I would probably give this a 5. Not that we're really doing a rating thing, but I would say it's probably a 5 out of 10.
But what was your scene?
Because there's a scene. Now I got.
What was your favorite scene?
I liked the scene where they played the music. I liked. That was the best part of the whole movie. I mean, they played T-Rex.
Jake loved the credits. The end credits was the best.
Just jamming out to T-Rex. What about you, Jen? What was your favorite scene?
I mean, one of them was the car scene. You know what I'm talking about? With Nicolas
him
Cage
singing.
Mama! Daddy! Being as crazy as Nicolas Cage can get when he's full Nicolas Cage.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I did really enjoy that scene.
I know when I was hanging out with Jake after we saw it, I just kept doing that all night.
Yeah.
It was great. It was awesome.
So,
Thank you for that.
I will say my favorite scene was the last 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Hail Satan, wink, kiss. It's that just tied it all together.
He also did that about 300 times.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, he was doing that the whole night. I was just like, oh my God, this guy is like obsessed with this movie.
I really did enjoy it.
You know what? I mean, honestly, I could give you, like, literally, you don't even need to change anything about the movie. I would understand the movie and be vibing with the movie so much more if you just added one thing in the background for me. While he's making this doll, background, some demon, maybe the devil, I don't know, just beating off in the background, I would have, like, totally understood the whole movie a lot more. I would have, like, really just tied it all together for me.
Yeah. I can see how that would definitely do it for you.
That would do it for me. That would have done it. That's all I needed.
Now, one thing I did hear that was, I thought, pretty wild, considering that there's been no qualms made about Nicolas Cage being a very interesting human being and having his involvement in different acting roles. But all of his lines for this movie, top to bottom, he read the script and said that he would do it, but yet he didn't want to change anything. So every single word, every line that he said in the entire movie was original script. He didn't change anything.
That is very different than him normally.
Correct. Normally, he's going to want to put his spin.
Ad-libbing all the time.
Right.
I like how when you were making that statement, you made it sound like he looked it over and then he agreed to do it. Like there's ever a point where he wouldn't agree to do it. Because I don't know if anybody else has noticed, but Nicolas Cage was in about probably 30 movies in a row there that felt like, maybe he took $20 for the role because the movies were just such trash.
And he's got to pay for all those dinosaur bones and suits of armor in his Casa de Cage.
We're going to steal the Declaration of Independence.
I feel like I could get Nicolas Cage to star in my Christmas home video for $35 or something like that sometime. I mean, he's just doing garbage for so long.
He's even in well, that's going to be my recommendation now, but he's in a movie where he's the main character and he doesn't even say a single word. So
you can't Willy Wonderland me, man. I've already done that.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and say that I don't know. Nicolas Cage is such a strange actor because he is A-list in my opinion. I mean, I think he's an A-list actor, and he's been in a lot of huge hit movies. He really has, but he's also
his stuff is also D-list.
Yeah, but 75% of his catalog is D-list. It's the weird. I don't think I've ever seen an actor hit as high as he did, or he is even right now. I mean, the guy is a super celebrity, but it's he has been, like I said, I mean, it's like he's appeared in, just anybody's movie that wanted an actor in it. It's like he was down. It just seemed it's just so weird. You don't normally see actors, once they hit the big time, they usually kind of say no to all those low budget D-list movies.
Well, he had probably a run of 5 years that was, you had Snake Eyes and Con Air and Face Off and 8mm. He was just on the top of the world. And then the last quarter of it, the last quarter of a century has been rough. There's been a handful of movies that are tolerable from him. The unmeasurable weight of, or what is it? The something immense weight of unmeasurable talent, or whatever. I love that movie. I thought that was really good. But then, the Willy Wonderland movie, equal parts dog crap and hilarity, juxtaposed. And with him not saying anything. And then some of the other stuff that he's done is just golly, the pig movie where he's out in the woods and he's got a truffle pig.
Oh,
yeah. I love that's a diamond in the rough. So you got that. And then you go and you do a movie well, the horror movies he's done too recently.
Colorado Space, Mandy.
Mandy. Mandy and Colorado Space. I noticed a lot of similarity in the colors and the weird trippiness that. Yeah. I don't know if it was the same guy that did both of them or what, but
they're connected by producer, director. There's or maybe the writer, whoever wrote the script, maybe. But there is a connection between those movies. I just don't know what it is.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Nicolas Cage.
There is a connection.
Other than Nicolas Cage.
Yeah. Obviously.
I don't know. When I want my Nicolas Cage fix, I typically throw in The Rock or Con Air was corny as all can be, but that was a really good movie.
Didn't matter. That was the point.
Magnifique.
Yep.
I really like Raising Arizona.
Yes.
I love it. Way back.
Honestly, nowadays, The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent is fantastic. As a huge Nicolas Cage fan, I adore that movie. It's
so. Let me tell you, if somebody says Nicolas Cage to me, I I instantly think National Treasure. I don't think of anything else. And I know he's done a boatload before and a million after, but like National Treasure kind of felt like his crossover moment where he was a, household name, full family entertainment type of thing. And same with the first Ghost Rider. The second one was pretty tough to watch, but he's done just so much. He's been in so many different things. It's crazy.
If you say Nicolas Cage, and I want to think The Rock, but honestly, the first thing that comes to mind, and I'm so embarrassed to even say this, but I was just honest with myself for a second. I was like, Nicolas Cage. What's the first thing? Honestly, Face Off.
Face Off.
I'm embarrassed to say that. I thought that movie was crap, but that's the first thing that popped in my head.
Well, yeah, to take somebody like John Travolta and Nicolas Cage, who look absolutely nothing alike, completely different bone structure and facial features, and we're just going to move the skin around, and nobody's going to know the difference. And one's
take his face. Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that movie was funny. I haven't seen Face Off for a long time too, but
I mean, I was doing word association there, and it was Nicolas Cage. Honestly, Face Off. I mean, it's embarrassing. I wish I hadn't admitted that.
See, we do have something in common when it comes to Nicolas Cage, Jake.
Like, you think about Face Off?
Yes, that's like my first go-to.
Okay, see, I mean, I guess it's not just me. So here, I wanted to bring this up because I've seen a lot of people talk about these three movies together, and I think it's because they've all come out recently. I think it's because they're all different. I think two of them have more in common than the others, but Longlegs, Black Phone, and Talk to Me are three movies I feel like they come up a lot together in like posts and stuff I've read. And I was just kind of wondering, I mean, I just thought I'd throw those out there. I think Black Phone and Longlegs to me, I don't know, maybe it's some kind of part of the ambiance or something, but those share something to me.
The nostalgic feeling, like, they both feel like they're set in the 80s or like late 80s type of thing. Yeah. So that's it. I mean, I think that's virtually it, that it just, in this movie in general, Longlegs, I think it was, trying to be a Hannibal. It was trying to be some of these movies that we've seen in the past from the 80s and the 90s that give you that nostalgic feel for the old crime, FBI thriller, serial killer type of thing. They nodded towards that a handful of times in this movie that I could see. It definitely felt like they were paying tribute to different movies that have come and gone that were right up there as some of the greatest in the genre.
It did remind me a little bit of Silence of the Lambs, like just a little bit. And it reminded me a little bit of It Follows as well, not just because of the main actress, but because of the feel of the film, because It Follows also has like kind of that retro vibe, where it kind of like seems like it's set like in a different era.
Yeah. I don't know where Talk to Me comes into the list. I mean, if we're rating those movies, Talk to Me was definitely better than Black Phone and Longlegs, which I hate to say that because Black Phone had Ethan Hawke in it, and that's my dude. But Talk to Me was just a much better movie. I don't know. I thought Black Phone was better than Longlegs.
The supernatural vibe. All of them have something that is very much unexplained. Or well,
that's probably
they explain it very well and Talk to Me.
That's probably it, though.
There's all these other things. They really do kind of just shape it out and tell you everything.
Talk to Me was solid, and that's why I would pick it as my top of these three. I do agree with you, though. Black Phone and Longlegs, they never really explain the supernatural or paranormal or whatever aspect to those.
Even though it's a massive part of the movie for both of them.
Yeah. The phone itself in Black Phone, I mean, we never really have answers there. I mean, we never really understand what the case is with the phone. I mean, and even if you gave me an explanation, it's kind of, I don't know if it's tough. It's like Longlegs with the kind of making up your own story, if you will,
Well, aren't they doing a sequel to Black Phone or?
Oh, are they?
Yes.
Sure.
Yeah. There is a second one.
Yeah,
Well,
Oh.
Steve says it must be true. So
I thought
No,
I
I
had
definitely-
personally-
I heard something about it.
Yeah.
I'll watch it.
that's
I like
that's
Black
interesting.
Phone.
I would like to see a prequel to both Longlegs and Black Phone. I think that'd be more valuable to me than a sequel, quite honestly.
A
I wanna
prequel for
know-
Longlegs, yeah.
I'd like a prequel for Black Phone. I want more Ethan Hawke. I want to find out kind of what that character's up to. What is his deal? What's he doing? Like, I don't know. I like that though. I like kind of the psychology of seeing where somebody came from sometimes.
Yeah. like that
So,
too.
and I mean, that's one reason why I say it all the time on here. I like a lot of the remakes because a lot of the even slasher remakes and stuff, they really spend more time developing that character and kind of explaining to us more of the details of why that character is how they are and what happened to them. I really, personally, I like feeling, or not feeling necessarily, but kind of going along the journey with them and being like, oh, okay, that makes sense why they're that way, and this happened and that happened, and that was traumatic, you know. It explains just a lot of the character's motivation to me. And in Black Phone and Longlegs, the motivation was a little unclear.
It's got to be tough with an hour and a half. And I don't know. I mean, they probably film 5-6 hours worth of stuff and have to cut it all down in editing and everything and determine what's worth keeping and what's not. But sometimes I feel like a movie like Longlegs might have been better suited as like a mini series because you could have gotten into the weeds a little bit. It'd been a little bit more, or done a little bit better job with the prequel, if you will, the explanation, and kind of ease you in a little bit, but, and not have to be so quick with certain, like only one scene to explain a whole, you know, whatever the circumstance might be, have a 30-second scene there that is, kind of difficult to read in some people's minds, but yet is there to explain something that's very important to the movie that if you miss it or you don't get it, could lead you to dislike the movie altogether. So,
Yeah. I think they could have done like a short series, like a mini series, like a little 8-episode, one-time shot. That would have been just as good. But I don't know.
As I said, I don't think Nicolas Cage would have said no.
that's true.
I don't think he says no to much. So here's another kind of thing I was thinking about. Though, is I spent a lot of time checking out things on some of my Facebook groups and stuff for the horror movies and things like that. And one of the questions that was raised recently that I was looking at was like, what would be your strategy to take on some of these villains in some of these horror movies? And obviously that'd be very different, you know, kind of your strategy going in based on what you're up against. But I was kind of sitting there thinking about it, and that's why I want to share this thought, is because I was thinking, like, I think in some situations your best bet is to just like outsick the character, right? I was thinking about it, and I was like, a character like Leatherface, for example. Like, you're out there with your buddies, and Leatherface sees you and everything, and he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna kill these guys." But like all of a sudden, I just like take out a knife or a machete or whatever I've got, and I just hack off Steve's arm and just like pour the blood all over me and just start like eating flesh and stuff and like be like, you know. I think Leatherface is gonna be like, whoa, what the f- is that guy doing? Because like,
also, sorry, Steve, but
You transported me directly to Tropic Thunder when he takes his head and he's like, "Oh," you know.
Corn syrup.
Yeah.
I just
That's
rewatched
funny.
that like last week. Tropic Thunder.
Such a good movie.
Funny.
I mean, I don't know. I'm just saying. I think you got to meet I think you got to meet these villains like on their level, like whatever that level may be. Obviously, they have to be a
Straight up eggy pop.
Yeah, they have to be like a coherent
Self
or
on stage with a bottle.
they got to be a cognitive character, you know, have some kind of thought. I mean, obviously, if you go out in the ocean, if you're in the middle of the ocean, like we were talking about last week, and you have a shark, you can't outshark a shark because they don't even know what the hell you're doing. They're just looking at you like, you know, what's this guy doing? You know, he's trying to swim around and bite me. Yeah.
Punch
you know, punch in the nose. That's what I
Yeah.
But you know, I don't know. It was just an interesting thing I read, and then it kind of got me on this whole thought of, you know, like, yeah, really, like, how would you take on some of these things? And I just think the best way to do it is to kind of stoop to their level, if you will. I think that's your best chance of survival. That's my advice. rip Steve's arm off and eat it. I mean,
Yeah. I am
Out there in-
highly carcinogenic, though.
yeah, you're out there in wrong turn, and they
Exploded hot dog hands from Tropic Thunder.
Mhm.
Yeah, that part.
yeah.
Let's keep
You're
it
in-
going
you're-
back to Tropic Thunder. I don't know.
I'm not even sure what that had to do with it, but anyway. So no, like Wrong Turn or Hills Have Eyes, like they creep up on you and they're like, "We're gonna get him," and then I turn around and I'm like, "Hey, I've already taken care of Rob for you. I've cooked some ribs up." I think they're gonna be like, I mean,
Rob ribs.
yeah, like they're gonna be like, I don't know what we should do. Should we sit down and eat, or should we continue to try to kill this guy? I mean, they might even let you be a part of their tribe, and then you can get away
Hey,
from there.
join the family.
They'd walk up to you and they'd be like, "Man, we just wanted to know if you had some extra salt or sugar, and you just killed your buddy and ate his ribs, and they were just some freaky dudes looking for
It is
sugar
true.
for
They
their
could just-
coffee."
could just be really deformed people looking for sugar. That's a very good point, And I'm the closest neighbor and just jumped the gun. I mean, it'd be like a Tucker versus Dale kind of scenario where, I just assumed things that I probably shouldn't have, I guess. Woe is me. Sorry, Steve. Sorry, Rob.
I'd still have an arm if you wouldn't have jumped the gun, Jake.
Jen, you got lucky we didn't eat you tonight. Rob,
Yeah,
Steve,
yeah,
we're
I
not
got
so lucky. So, I don't know. That's my take on it. But anyway, unless you guys have anything else to add, we've hit our hour.
I have one thing to add. The writer to this is Osgood Perkins, and he is the son of Anthony Perkins.
Are you serious?
Yeah, yeah.
No. Are you
Yeah,
serious?
yes, I'm serious.
Wow,
I'm
that
freaking serious.
almost makes me like it. Like I'll get a 5.1 now because I love Anthony Perkins.
Yeah.
Uh,
Psycho.
Wow, that's
in case somebody
Who's
out there
Anthony
doesn't know,
Perkins?
Anthony Perkins.
Who's Anthony
It's his
Perkins?
dad.
Psycho, man. He's Norman Bates
He's
in the original
Psycho.
Psycho.
Oh.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
yeah. I love Psycho. That was one of the first horror movies I ever saw. I remember watching that movie. I remember watching that movie when I was young. Such a good movie. So amazing.
Yeah.
It just brought me back to that. It makes the movie. You know what? I'm gonna give it a 5.2 just because now I'm feeling nostalgic and the connection. Jen, you really brought this up some. So 5.2. Good job, Jen.
Yay.
Yay. No.
By the way, I would probably give this movie like a 6.5, maybe a 7.
6.5. 7?
Yeah, maybe a 7.
7.
I would too. I would give it.
Story that brings.
I would give it a higher number.
Wow.
I
I'm
mean,
gonna have you guys at my. If I ever make a movie, you guys are coming to my screening because you guys are just giving away numbers.
you guys know I really love this movie, so I'm literally hitting like 8 or 9. I really did enjoy this one. It's although
Jake,
I am the target audience for this.
You're
This
right.
is Really,
Jake's throwing out figure skating numbers. I'm thinking, yeah. I mean, what did the lead character miss the triple sow cow or something, and you had to deduct points?
Actually, I think it was the director or the writer. The writer missed the triple.
I'm embarrassed that I know that term, by the way, from
Yeah,
ice
okay.
skating, but
I'm
it's
impressed.
triple sow cow. I've heard it multiple times, and I always thought it was funny. Yeah, let's go. Let's jump right to the.
I need to
Yeah,
ask though, real quick before we go, what makes you the target audience, Rob? I need to know.
It's
What are they looking for here? Tell us about yourself, buddy.
How much do you love Nicolas Cage? Do you like supernatural dabblings in your movies? Do you like
Allegedly.
a good soundtrack? Allegedly supernatural. It checked off all of my boxes. Like it's everything hit how I wanted it to.
Well, I don't have a problem with Nicolas Cage, and I love a good soundtrack. And I really like paranormal and supernatural movies, so I guess there's more
Also,
to it
I
than-
forgot to add the fact that is it one of Rob's favorite movies, and does Jake hate it? Because if it's one of my favorite movies, you have to hate it.
That's not true. We have agreed on movie. We both loved Talk to Me. We both loved Fall, and we both loved Tusk. So, which, by the way, Rob and I watched Yoga Hosers the other night, and while it was entertaining, definitely it wasn't nearly even close to as good as Tusk.
Had a very different vibe. It didn't feel like it was the same series, in all honesty.
I think Rob said it best. When we were watching it, Rob said it best. He said, this is a movie that they made for themselves. Like, Yoga Hosers is a movie that Kevin Smith and his friends, they were like, hey, let's make a sequel.
Movie for our daughters to do stuff.
Yeah, let's have our daughters be in a movie, because it's Kevin Smith's daughter and Johnny Depp's daughter are the two main characters. And it pretty much felt like they were like, let's put them in a movie and let's just have some fun with our friends. That's what it really kind of felt like, because it was Tusk was a lot better.
I didn't hate it, but it did not live up to what I wanted because I had seen Tusk.
No, but if Tusk
So it was like a Michael Cera movie then.
Yeah, kind of.
Well, it's like a Scott Pilgrim vibe to it as well, which I was not expecting at all. I mean, I didn't hate it.
Vibe.
Like
yeah,
it was a very different.
Like a video game type movie.
I mean, Scott Pilgrim Saves the World is also a movie. So
I know that. I've seen it.
It's well, like
it's also like a video game and I guess a comic. So was it like more like a comic vibe or?
There's kind of comedy vibing.
You know, Kevin Smith and Jason Mewes, they're big into comics. You could tell that.
That's true.
Yeah,
it had like a snip. Like you could, if you watch it, you'll see the correlation. It's not like, oh, this is just a ripoff of Scott Pilgrim, but it's like, okay, maybe this had a little bit of influence, like when they're introducing characters, doing a little bit. It was different.
A good part of it was also like a Canadian Clerks.
Yes,
it was like Canadian Clerks with like some weird Nazi stuff going on. Basically, it was definitely strange and unusual, and I don't know. I kind of enjoyed the music in that one because they had the two girls did a lot of the songs, and at first I was like, "Is this a musical?" Because the first like 10 minutes they played like 2 or 3 songs, but yeah, and it's loosely connected to Tusk. Like it had some of the same characters, and they referenced what happened in Tusk. We were pretty lucky to see Justin Long in it as a different character than he was in the Tusk.
Oh.
He was the yoga master himself.
That's yep.
So that was amusing. But yeah, I mean, overall, I just figured I'd throw that out there. We don't need to do a half an hour or 20 minutes or even whatever on this, but Rob and I saw it. I figured I'd mention it to you guys.
Eagerly awaiting part 3 of the trilogy. What is it? Moose Tracks, I think?
Moose something.
Moose something.
It's coming out, I think, next year. Sometime.
Yeah, there's a pretty big gap between that one and this one. Because we looked at the dates, and I think it was like Tusk and then Yoga Hosers came out like a couple of years after, and then now they're doing the third one. And anyway, so Steve, you were about to tell us that we were going to do something, and then I cut you off.
Well, I was thinking the only thing we haven't talked about is like that, or gotten into in depth, is the end scene, like the final scene where everything comes together and she realizes what's been going on the whole time, her backstory, her mom's involvement, and everything
back
else.
To Long Legs, right?
Correct. Yep.
Okay. All right.
So yeah, I was just wondering like what you guys felt about at least the ending portion of it. Did that do it for you, or was that kind of a cop out, or what was your take on that?
I really liked the part where it was over. So the ending was great, actually. No, I'm sorry, I'm just joking. Rob, go ahead, or Jen. You guys probably have stronger feelings about this than I do.
I mean,
go ahead,
I don't really feel like it was like too quick of an ending. Like some of these other movies. I mean, it didn't feel like it was like that abrupt to me. So I appreciated that.
I thought it was abrupt. I kind of did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought they took 15, 20 minutes worth of story that probably could have taken the full 20 minutes and turned it into about a 5-minute ending. So
Steve doesn't like his abrupt endings.
I don't like abrupt endings. Nope.
Steve wants it on. Like if it's not like a half an hour, the ending scene isn't like a half an hour. Steve doesn't.
Well,
I mean, I needed more Coppola, but I didn't get it.
Once you, oh geez, once you find out, how, Longlegs was, a huge portion of like her growing up, and the mom's portion of what she did, and then like with the final murder side, the final killings. I don't know. I didn't feel like it was too quick, personally. So I liked what happened. I said, like, I think this movie really was made for me.
Yeah. I mean, the scene itself wasn't quick. I just felt like there could have been a little more build up to it, and because that's like that's the big crescendo, the finale, what is it? M. Night Shyamalan reveal type of thing. Oh, I never had no idea that was the case. Like all the answers are supposed to happen at once, and it felt quick. Once again, I had a bunch of people with me, and I might not have been paying the best attention.
I feel like the biggest turn was Longlegs actually killing himself in the interrogation room, like halfway, 2/3 through the movie. Like that was just like, what the F is happening?
Yeah. Like, I didn't expect that either.
Yeah. It totally caught me off guard. And then like the whole movie changed after that. So yeah, I don't know. It was definitely differently paced. But yeah, it was just a little bit different.
Well, I'm eager to watch it a second time. I'll tell you guys that.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of M. Night
I'm definitely going to
Shyamalan,
see it again.
I may. I don't know. But I will say though, actually, I didn't really like Black Phone when I first saw it, but I did end up buying it. I think I got it cheap or something, and I'm always adding to my horror collection, and I did watch it a few more times, and I've actually it's kind of grown on me, honestly. Rob remembers at first I was not a Black Phone fan.
You walked out of that theater hating it.
Yeah, and
so completely disappointed. Completely, 100%.
I was very disappointed, and I'm still disappointed. But I think I feel like Black Phone and I have gotten a mutual respect or something. Like we've learned to live together. I don't know. I mean, I hate it anymore. It still wouldn't be in my top 10. It still wouldn't be in my all-time greats. But we've learned we've worked through our differences. That is the loudest bag of chips opening.
What you doing? What you doing?
Preparing for the blue chip challenge.
Okay, so there's two things to add. First of all, speaking of M. Night Shyamalan, we did just see a new trailer for a new Shyamalan movie, and we're going to be reviewing that soon because everybody knows I'm a Shyamalan fanatic. Love me some Shyamalan. And second of all, Rob's chips he's got there remind me that we have hit over 100 viewers. We talked about this last week, and tomorrow is going to be the big day. Rob is going to either eat this one chip challenge chip here or the one chip challenge chip that Steve has. I think we each have one at this point, both courtesy of Steve. And so Rob will be getting a chip tomorrow, and I think Jen and I need to take a shot of something gross. We're teenagers at heart here, so daring each other to eat gross food if we make accomplishments is definitely not beyond us at this point. So you're gonna have that. That's good. I'm looking forward to it. And with that being said, we'll have that posted probably within the next few days. So you'll be able to watch Rob suffer through that. Anyway, we're hoping Rob doesn't die, but it would be pretty epic at the same time, and it would be a crazy story for the rest of my life to be like, man, I once watched the guy eat a chip and die.
Oh my God.
I mean, I really feel bad that it's Rob. And
it'll bring in a bunch of followers, I guarantee it.
Yeah.
Well, don't bring that up too much because sadly a young kid did die from the challenge. That's why you can't get the chips anymore.
Are you Steve? Your door just opened in the background. You got ghost, bro? Or is that a cat?
I'm looking at that too, wondering if it's my cat or
ghost.
One of several.
All right,
I
guys.
got ghosts here too.
I am putting officially on this video real ghost footage because I've been reviewing some ghost videos lately, and sometimes that's all it takes. So anyway, if anybody's watching this and you're a ghost fanatic, you just saw it with me live. Real ghost footage of Steve's house. That's something.
They heard us talk about flip chips. Oh, give me some.
Yep.
No, but back to it though, and I'm sorry I interrupted it with the ghost. I mean, that was serious and important, I think. And I don't want to overlook the ghost, but somebody died eating the chip. Are you serious?
Yes. So they took them off the shelves and stopped them altogether. I think the end of last year. It was the 2023 was the last chip that they put out, and he had underlying. Yes, and he had underlying medical conditions to start with. So it was. I don't know the details. I read the story when it happened almost a year ago, but I want to say he was like 15 or something, and so that. And you would think that with as many, because that was a big thing. I mean, you couldn't get on YouTube without seeing either the ice bucket challenge or the one chip challenge. That was like one of the two things that was going on all the time. And I've seen videos where people eat like 100 of those chips, one after another, with like nitrile gloves on. It's like you got to be absolutely destroying. I mean, Kobayashi and Joey Chestnut are laughing at you right now because that's got to be tearing your gut up something fierce. I mean, just destroying you with all that stuff. But one chip, I just think it's a lot of pain. That's all. So
I hope you're feeling strong, Rob.
I just want to say I meant no disrespect. Knowing what Steve said, I just want to say that I meant no disrespect whatsoever to that child or his family. That's absolutely terrible. Doesn't mean that we're not going to have Rob eat the chip, but I feel terrible about maybe going on too much about Rob dying. So I apologize.
That's why I brought it up.
I've seen one person eat the chip since this all happened. I've seen one person do it live. He ate the chip. He drank about a half a gallon of milk, and then we went outside to have a cigarette, and I watched him throw up a half a gallon of milk. I mean, that's pretty much my experience with the chip so far. And I will say this is, I do have one story that does remind me of this. So my best friend in New York, when I lived in New York, at the time I was dating this girl who was going to college, and she had these food vouchers, and she knew I loved sushi. So she used to bring me like literally bags of sushi from the college cafeteria or whatever that they had. It was pretty good actually for being college cafeteria sushi. So I was eating the Jesus out of that. And then I was always saving the wasabi ball. I don't know why, but every time I put the little bowl of wasabi to the side, and I eventually had this wasabi ball that was about the size of a golf ball. And my buddy came over one night, and he was like, man, I'm a little short on cash, you know. I was like, all right, dude, I'll tell you what. I'll give you $20 if you eat this wasabi ball. Just messing around. I didn't expect him to actually do it. But I was like, yeah, man, I'll give you $20 if you eat this wasabi ball. This dude, I swear to God, popped this thing in his mouth, moved it around a little bit, swallowed it, sat there for another 20 minutes without a single reaction. It's the most amazing thing I think I've ever seen. Like he literally was like, yeah, man, that was a little spicy. Now I have no idea how that even happened. I know that he was a big fan of like a lot of Jamaican cooking and stuff like that. So, I mean, I think he did have a little bit of a spicy palate, but man, he ate that wasabi ball, and I was like expecting a show. First of all, I didn't think he would do it. I wouldn't have done it, but he took it like it was just, yeah, okay, man, sure. You know, whatever. Not a single bead of sweat, not a single tear, nothing. And it was the most disappointing $20 I ever spent in my life. So, I mean, yeah, it kind of sucked. I almost felt like robbed, you know. Hopefully that won't happen tomorrow.
Either way,
hopefully
something's going to get robbed.
It's coming out one end or the other, spicy.
What's your closing line you got, Jake?
I don't got a closing line yet because we haven't. Did we actually go over? Did we talk about references or just, you know?
Oh, to have recommendations? I don't think I really have one. I didn't prepare.
Well, you're making this difficult on me, man.
I kind of have one.
I could recommend a movie that 3 out of 4 doctors recommend.
Okay.
One of which has not seen it. That would be called Chained, which we all saw except for Rob. So
that'd be a problem to talk about.
Y'all have to be very reiterative on our chat. I missed the one time one person said we should all watch this. I'm very forgetful, y'all. Reiterate
Well,
things for me.
If you,
I'll watch it. I'll watch it
I'll
soon.
recommend
I'll
it.
watch it. I'll watch it
Yeah.
within the next few days. I guarantee.
if you're still watching this show, because this is another long one, if you're still watching the show right now, please put in the comments about how Rob needs to check all of his messages when he checks his messages. To kind of back us up on this one, because I think that's important.
I get a lot.
So if our
messages.
one or two
People like
viewers
me.
on Rob, you're done for. They're gonna call you out, buddy. All right, that's fine. So we'll go with Chained, and then Rob, did you have one or?
I mean, I said earlier, if y'all haven't seen it, watch Willy's Wonderland.
I haven't, and I've never seen it.
I have.
It is a wild Nicolas Cage horror comedy. I just love that they made a Five Nights at Freddy's movie before Five Nights at Freddy's movie happened. I haven't seen the Five Nights at Freddy's actual movie, so I can't
I also
really
have
compare
that
it.
one and haven't seen it. We could watch it. I have it.
Okay.
Never
Well,
seen
yeah. I feel like we should watch both. If have you
I
seen
have
Willy's
both, and
Wonderland?
I've never seen either, and I own them both because I buy movies.
We'll
I
do
I
it
own
back to
neither.
back.
I own neither and have seen both. So, and strangely enough, I will put Willy's Wonderland over the Five Nights
And
at Freddy's.
I will
Yep.
say, the younger generation loved Five Nights at Freddy's. Like, absolutely thought it was the best thing ever. It made a killing in the box office. People were
Well,
dressing
that
up.
was aimed.
They
at
loved
younger.
it.
It was aimed
Yeah.
at them. Yeah,
Well, and I feel like
we're probably too old for
Willy's
it.
Wonderland really did, hit the mark for its target audience, and I thought it was great.
You're the target audience.
You just put Nicolas Cage in a movie. I'm gonna watch it.
Some are bad.
That's
Some are really bad.
Oh yeah, no, some of them are, but I'm still gonna watch it.
Jen,
I'll
is there
probably
anything
still
you feel
enjoy
like? Is there anything you feel like we need to watch, Jen?
I mean, I was going to recommend an older movie that Nicolas Cage did, since we're, talking about Nicolas Cage so much. Already getting the thumbs up. You don't even know which movie I'm going to say.
I don't care.
You
As I
do?
said, you just put them in a movie. It's gonna be good.
Have you seen Vampire's Kiss?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh man. It has been a while since I've seen it, but I definitely remember some scenes, and he definitely gets crazy
It's-
in true Nicolas Cage fashion. So if you really like seeing Nicolas Cage get crazy and go a little bit over the top, then you might like Vampire's Kiss.
What he's known for. Perfect example.
Yeah.
I just watched a movie today that I've seen before, but I'll go ahead and throw that out there as my recommendation. I watch a lot of. I've been really getting into like some foreign horror lately, and I've been really getting back into my roots of IFC horror, which is kind of where I started out as a horror fan. I was always, when I was younger, I was always watching the independent films. I always enjoyed, seeing something different and something new, and I've kind of go back there a lot to my roots when I'm watching horror movies. A lot of them are low budget. A lot of them aren't, blockbusters by any means, but I enjoy them. And the one I'm going to recommend is The Rental.
Oh,
The Rental is
I saw that.
I don't think I've
it's really
heard of that
good. It's these two brothers and their girlfriends or wives or fiancés, whatever the relationship is with them. They go to rent a house, and there's the weird guy renting the house to them, and a bunch of crazy stuff happens. And I won't give that away because it's a recommendation. I want you to watch it, but I thought it was pretty solid. Like I said, I mean, I enjoy kind of those IFC type movies, and that's what it is. So The Rental, and it does have what's his name in it? Maybe you could help me
Is
out,
it
Jen.
Dan
You might.
Stevens? Is it Dan Stevens?
It's he's in Shameless.
Oh,
It's
it's not
Lip,
the movie
and
I'm thinking of.
it's Lip and Shameless. I don't know if you know his name off the top of your head.
Okay.
But he's in The Rental. He's actually kind of become a big deal. He's in this new cooking show.
Yeah.
Not cooking show, but
Bear.
a show about him being a cook. It's not like a competition or anything.
Yeah, it's called The
But
Bear. Yeah.
yeah, The Bear. And I'm actually
Good.
really thinking he's coming up. He's done some pretty solid things. He was great in Shameless, and he was great in The Rental. So I'd say check that one out. And my quote of the night to end this all is probably more for Jen than the rest of you guys. But have you ever heard of insect politics? Neither have I. Insects don't have politics. They're very brutal. No compassion, no compromise. We can't trust the insect.
Okay.
You've been listening to PsychOpinion. If it's anything horror, we're talking about it.